welcome to Your Mac Life for Wednesday, August the 5th. August the 5th, 2020. Show number 1237? 36? Somewhere around there. 1,230 some odd shows. I'm your host, Shawn King. Thank you guys very much for joining us here on this Wednesday evening, or if you're tuned in live, or if you're tuned in via the archive on a Tuesday or a Saturday or whatever day of the week you so choose. Won't have my beautiful wife Melissa on the show tonight because she is at the beach. It's a beautiful 26 degrees Celsius day here in the on the Sunshine Coast, and Melissa and her girlfriend have gone down to the beach to hang out and do girly girl stuff. I don't know, do their nails. I don't know what they're doing. So it's just me on tonight's show. A little later on, though, we're going to talk to our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. We're going to talk about Apple's incredible stock numbers. There's just no way Apple should be allowed to make that kind of money during a pandemic. The economy is cratered. The GDP of the United States has dropped by 33%. 45 million Americans are out of work, and Apple's still making money hand over fist. How is that legal? How is that possible? We'll talk to Jim about that. They've also announced a 4-for-1 stock split. So those of you who are lucky enough to own Apple stock will have it soon, in sometime in August. Split, for every one share you have, you get 4 of Apple. Doesn't mean your stock value is going to go up, though. A stock split is if you have 100 shares worth $100, you'll now have 400 shares, each worth $25. So you'll still have the exact same amount of money. But as the stock goes up, hopefully, that's what you'll see. You'll see more money in your pocket. You'll also it also makes the value of the stock a little less. So right now it's at $430 some odd dollars. What a stock split means is that when the stock splits to 4-for-1, the stock will be worth a little over $100 each. That's more affordable for a lot of people. A lot of us can maybe scrape up a few $100 to buy Apple stock, several Apple stock, rather than just one. So that's one of the reasons why they do it. It also shows confidence in Apple's growth and in where Apple thinks the share price is going to go. So it's all a good thing. We're also going to talk about Phil Schiller is stepping back from his role as the vice president of worldwide marketing for the company. He is now going to be an Apple fellow. He'll still be involved with the company, still be in charge of the App Store and Apple events. So he'll still have a strong role at the company. So we won't be seeing the last of Phil. Phil's still going to be around for quite some time. We'll also talk about our experiences, Jim's and mine experiences with Phil Schiller. Phil was always a very approachable guy, really nice guy to talk to, really nice guy to chat with if you were not probing too much. He and I usually talk about hockey. He's a huge hockey fan. So we'll talk about our time with Phil Schiller as well. We're also going to talk about, what else are we going to talk about? I've got a review of this little teeny tiny thing. See this thing? It's wee. It's petite. It's a little thick. But this is the Infinacore Pandora powerless wireless charger. It's a true wireless charger. I've got an Aki battery here, big, huge, honking battery, but it ain't wireless. In order to charge up, I got to plug this in, fill up this battery, and then plug into here. But this thing is truly wireless because, I don't know if you can see on the video, see a little circle? That is a Qi wireless charging spot. So you can just put this down, no wires, put your phone on top of it, it charges, just like any other wireless charging pad. The cool thing about this one is it's got a little, I'm doing the review now. I'll do the review later, sorry. You can go to our website, yourmaclifeshow.com. You can pick one of these things up for only $40. And I think it's worth it. I definitely think the list price is $60. At $40, this is a really good deal. And I'll explain why a little bit later on. The nice folks at Infinicore are also going to be giving us 2 of these to give away. I'm going to be asking a trivia question about the Infinicore Pandora during the review tonight. So you have to pay attention to the review to get the trivia question correct. But if you want to get one of these, or 2, we got 2 to give away, 1 white, 1 black. In the spirit of, never mind, I'm not going to even say it. 1 white, 1 black, we'll give it away in 2 weeks' time. So remember, if you're a subscriber to Your Mac Life, if you're not a subscriber to Your Mac Life, Go to the website, yourmaclifeshow.com. Right to the top of the page, you'll see a Friends of YML contest entry form. Fill that out with at least your name and a correct email address. We had a winner of a contest a while back that decided to put a fake email address, and like, dude, I can't contact you to tell you you've won if you have a fake email address. Duh. So don't do that. I'm not going to use your email address. I have no reason, no ability, interest, desire, want to change, to scam, to do your email address. Don't worry about it. So make sure your email address is correct. If you're a subscriber to Your Mac Life, you're already entered into the contest. We've been saying this for years. Please subscribe to Your Mac Life. It helps us out financially, obviously. This is a free podcast, but this is your way of supporting the podcast without me going through all the hassle of Patreon and all the other kind of stuff. Go to the website, yourmaclifeshow.com. Right there on the left-hand side, there is the ability to click on the link, and you can subscribe for $2 or $5 or 10 or 15, whatever it is you choose, per month, and that gives you additional entries for every $2 you subscribe. So every subscriber gets entered into the contest automatically every single month. Don't go to worry about it. But those of you who subscribe at higher than $2 get extra entry forms. So please subscribe to Your Mac Life. Helps us out. It's a way of supporting the show. It's a good thing. All right? It's just a good thing to do. And in our starting point photography segment, our good friend Susan Gare is asking the single most difficult question a person could ask a photography instructor. What camera should I buy? Not, how do I get this shot? How do I shoot long exposures? How do I shoot in the sunshine? No. Those aren't hard questions. Those are easy questions. What's a neutral density filter? What does aperture priority mean? All that's easy. What camera should I buy is the hardest single question, because it's almost impossible to answer without knowing what kind of photographer you are, what your wants, needs, desires, price point for a camera is. What I might like in a camera, big and bulky, Susan, because she's petite and wee, may not like in a camera. She may not want to carry around a big, bulky DSLR. But we'll talk about that in the starting point photography segment coming up a little later on in the show. We'll talk to Jim about this. I want to get his thoughts on it. It's fun. Let's see if the folks in the chat room remember what I called Phil Schiller's greatest stunt. It was 1999 Macworld Expo, New York City. I was there. I was in the audience when Steve Jobs showed off the very first iBook with wireless connectivity to the internet. A lot of people's minds were blown. Now, I'd been using Wi-Fi in a corporate environment for 3 or 4 years before that, but it was hugely expensive. It wasn't very fast. It was convenient, but it was a giant pain in the ass. Each Wi-Fi base station that time cost about $1,500, and the Wi-Fi card cost $500 for the Windows laptops we were using. And so when Steve Jobs came out and showed off that orange tangerine iBook and showed Wi-Fi for the first time to most people, it was mind-blowing. Wirecast crashed on me. So we'll finish that story up. I got to call Jim now. We'll finish that story up during the Jim segment. But how many? The basic question is, how many of you remember what Phil Schiller was actually testing when he jumped off that platform 21 years ago? Ah, dear. Just stop it, life. Just stop. Begging you. Okay, when we come back, we'll be talking to. Come on, switch. It's going to crash again. I'm going to tell you that right now, folks. I can just tell. It's the Wirecast app is just being a effing pain. So if it does crash again, I'll notice it because the app will go away immediately. But I'll see what I can do. It's not switching inputs either. Supposed to be doing auto live, and all I use the go button. Okay, there's the go button, and Switch, go. Nope. Okay. I'm going to call Jim now. Be right back. Welcome back, folks. Thank you. Welcome back, folks. Thank you guys very much for joining me here on the show this Wednesday evening. Appreciate it. In our phone now, we've got our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. Jim, how you doing?
Doing good, Shawn. How are you?
I'm good. The biggest news this week, I mean, it's something we have to talk about. It's all over the internet. Samsung announced new products. Tell us about them.
Yeah. So they have this thing. What was it? A watch, a phone, and I don't know, earphones or some shit.
I think it's one of the. I think it's one of the best parts about being an Apple pundit, journalist, whatever you want to call us, is we don't got to worry about that shit all the time.
I mean, really, who cares?
I mean, I think they announced 17 phones today. 4 tablets and a weight room. It was just ridiculous.
And if you buy one, you get 30 for free.
That's right. Yeah, I'm just my RSS feed just blew up, but it was easy to ignore it because it was all Samsung, Galaxy. It was like, no, I don't care. And now you're seeing people doing comparison tests between this Galaxy Note and an iPhone 11, whatever. And I'm like, I don't got to read that. I don't care because I don't. No. You could tell me, you could guarantee me that Samsung is twice as fast as my iPhone, has twice as good a camera. Don't care. I'm never going to buy one. I'll be jealous. Yeah. But I'm never going to buy one. So I can support.
But that will never happen either.
No, that's true too. That will never happen. So actually the big news was last week Apple announced insane. Should Apple as a corporation be broken up? There's no way. Now hear me out now. There is no way legally, morally, ethically a company should be able to make that much money during a pandemic. I mean,
I don't, to have a record quarter
during a pandemic.
The
gross domestic product in the United States has plummeted 33%. 45 million Americans are out of work. During a pandemic, Apple makes money hand over fist.
Yeah. I mean, they could have shut down for all but a week and still made
exactly.
money.
I mean, it's I hope Tim Cook and everyone there, CFO, everyone was just high-fiving each other going, can you believe this shit?
Yeah, right.
I mean, Jesus. They've got to be, everyone in Apple has got to be inordinately proud of themselves. I mean, the part of it is obviously because of the pandemic. People are at home. They need better computers. They need better iPads. They're just bored, just clicking randomly at the internet. But that was just a remarkable, remarkable comeback. Not comeback, but numbers for Apple.
I don't even know what to say about it because it stunned me.
Yeah.
when the press release came out and I looked at it and said, "Wait, what?
What?
Record quarter?"
Right. The hell are you talking about?
It's like none of Apple's customers realized there was a pandemic and just kept buying shit.
Just kept buying shit. And more shit than it last quarter.
Yeah.
It was just unbelievable. I was the same way. I remember thinking as I was, that was a Tuesday morning, and I went out to take the dog for a walk. 'Cause I was like, you know what? The results aren't going to be all that great. I don't need to listen to stuff. I get back and I read your story, and I was just like, say what? Jim got that wrong. Oh, man, I got to go correct this. So I run over to Apple's website to the PR Newswire page and start getting ready to cut and paste and tell Jim, dude, you screwed up. And I'm reading and going, wait, what? They made how much money? They sold how many Macs?
I almost put million instead of billion.
That's right. Apple announced financial results for the 2020 third quarter. Quarterly revenue of almost $60 billion, increase of 11% from the year-ago quarter. Earnings up 18%, international sales 60%. Everything was up across the board. Everything, Macs, iPhones, wearables, services, doesn't matter. The whole company was just floating on cloud nine as if none of this shit was going on.
Yep. Just how do you explain that? What do you even say? I mean, Tim and Luca must have been sitting back that afternoon just laughing their ass off.
No kidding. It's like, can we really say these things? And Tim's like, yeah, this is gonna be fun, dude. This is gonna be a blast.
Yeah.
It's just it's got to go down. If someone does this at the Harvard Business School, whatever it is, it's got to go down as the most remarkable quarter for a company during a worldwide financial meltdown that anyone's ever seen. I mean, there's just no.
Well, yeah, and let's not forget that too. It's not just a pandemic; it's a financial meltdown.
Yeah.
So
everything's going to hell in a handbasket. 44% up, 44% of iPhones, 11% up on iPads, 12% up on Macs, 22% up on services, 11% up on wearables.
Do you remember, what was it, 3-4 years ago, where Apple said that they were going to double their services stuff in the next, 3 to 5 years?
Yep.
Well, they did more.
They did significantly more. Now, this being said, the other thing that went on in the past couple of weeks was the top CEOs of tech companies appeared before Congress. Interestingly enough, not Microsoft. That really fascinated me, and I'm sure Microsoft was a little bit relieved, but also a little bit pissed too, because this was perceived as being the most important tech companies in the world, in America, if not the world. And Microsoft not being included must have pissed them off a little bit.
Well, you would have to think so. I mean, I was surprised, to be honest, that Twitter wasn't there just because of how much the politicians down here use it.
That's right. How much they hate it, too.
Well, not all of them.
But that being said, what were your thoughts on the overall hearings, at least from Tim Cook's point of view? Was it a good, bad hearing for Cook and for Apple?
Well, let's be honest. They really had very little to go after Apple about. They had the App Store and the percentages. When Tim explained, I mean, one guy didn't even understand what the percentages meant. And he asked him, is this it? And Tim said, no. 86% of the apps are free, but the others, we take 30% for the first year of your subscription, but only 15 after that.
Yep.
And the guy said, oh, really?
Yeah.
I yield my time.
Yeah. Like, how did you not know that before you asked the question, you asshat?
Right. So I will say that I felt bad for all. Didn't we already talk about this?
No, we haven't had a chance to. I wasn't around last week.
Oh, all right. Okay, so I felt bad. I just didn't want to repeat myself if you were asking a specific question. I felt bad for all the CEOs because people in Congress were so stupid that there was no way. Like, you would get And I don't know why everything has to be so political in the U.S., but they would ask one person be a Republican and just nail a CEO because something was taken down too quickly from a conservative website, and the next guy would be a Democrat, nail him for the same thing,
Yeah.
but because it stayed up so long.
Yeah.
So how is a CEO supposed to win? And then there was a woman there that was asking Bezos, do you know this person?
Yeah.
And he said, no. And she said, well, they had a bad experience in your store.
That's right.
Okay. So we do, tens of millions of transactions a day. I guess I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah.
And then, one guy, why was Donald Trump Jr. kicked off? Okay, so that was Twitter.
Yeah.
And I run I run Facebook.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. So that's why I posted afterwards. Like, I would like to see the tech CEOs interrogate Congress over the mistakes that they've made over the last 20 years.
Well, that's supposed to be the media's job, so. But that being said, with the amount of money Apple has made overall in the last 10 years, this is the 10th anniversary of the Apple Store opening up, or the App Store at Apple Store. The 30% number is where everyone gets caught up on. Everyone gets caught up on Apple's taking 30% from most developers, not necessarily the big guys, but most developers. Steve Jobs, when they first announced the App Store, said, we're just doing this to break even. Just doing this to cover our costs. We want to give most of the money back.
Come on.
No. Let me finish my show. Steve Jobs said they were going to just break even. They've broken even by now. All right? With all the revenue Apple is pulling in hand over fist, with all of the antitrust issues that Apple is facing and is going to continue to face in the EU and in various states in the United States, don't you think it would be good, even if it was just a PR thing, for Apple to say, hey, look, we're announcing we're going to drop our charges to developers to 20% or 15%?
Bullshit.
Don't you think that would be good PR?
No.
Why not?
No, I don't. You know why? Because Apple is not a goddamn charity.
No, they're not.
They are a company. It's like all these millennials saying, "Oh, I think Amazon should give away all its money and let things be free." Oh, piss off. You know what? Amazon is not there for you so that you can get free shit. And neither is Apple or Microsoft or any of these other companies. No. And, when people say, like, oh, you shouldn't be buying competitive companies and, integrating them into yours, do you think that the guys at WhatsApp were upset with getting $19 billion? I bet they weren't. I bet they were pretty happy with that $19 billion.
You think?
So, I mean, the people that are making these decisions have no idea what technology even is.
Fair point, yes.
And it's sad.
Yep.
It's a sad state to listen to them talk to these people that have, in one way or another, have all changed the world. And you get these people that have no idea what they're saying. And at the end of I watched the whole thing, by the way.
Yeah.
Which made me want to poke my goddamn eyes out.
Understandable.
But I watched the whole thing, and at the very end, the guy said, well, it seems clear that these companies need to be broken up. And I'm thinking, wait, what?
That's right. Is that what you got out of this?
Really? That's what I thought. What I got out of it is you guys need to do more homework before you come in and talk.
That's right.
So I don't think that Apple needs to be broken up. And one guy did bring up a good point. We broke up all the bells.
Yep.
And we're right back where we started.
That's right. Yep. It didn't make any difference.
So what good is it going to do to break up Amazon? Or, Apple made its money from improving all of the categories that it's in. Can they honestly say that because Apple has, to use an old term, has the whole widget, that they didn't improve the way that phones are or the way watches are?
Yeah.
No, they can't. So how can you break that up? They did that. Nobody else before them did that to that extent. So who are they to say that this should be broken up?
Yeah. Let's move on. Phil Schiller is stepping back from his role as vice president of worldwide marketing. Schiller had been in Apple since 1997, I think, and vice president for a good 10, 15, almost 20 years. Not a surprising move, given as he explained in his letter on the Apple website. He's stepping back, not leaving the company. He is 60 years old. He'd been at Apple since he was 27, on and off for many years. It's without a doubt a well-deserved break for Schiller. It's a shame that he had to be fired this way, though, right? Jesus Christ.
Schiller could have stayed there as long as he wanted, and he still is.
This was a story that reminded me, hopefully, once and for all, don't read the comments on a website. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
The stupidity of this. People saying he was fired. One guy said he was fired because he got fat and looked out of place with the other executives.
Oh, my God.
Have you seen Eddie Q? Okay, Eddie Q's a porker, all right? Eddie's still there.
I am, like I wrote in the story that I wrote after I took yours down. Phil, if you look at any event that went on in the last 20 years at least, that had Phil's name all over it.
Yep.
Every event, every product marketing campaign, ad, everything had Phil's name all over it. And look how successful those have all been.
Well, Apple's marketing is moribund, according to someone at Ars Technica.
Is what?
Exactly. I don't think he knows what moribund means either. There are people all over saying that this is an opportunity for Apple to clean house. They should get rid of all the executives because they're doing such a terrible job. Did you read the financial report that they did the week before? Anybody who says that anybody at Apple should be thrown out is an idiot. Schiller or Jozwiak or Cook or anybody. They are doing the greatest single job in American technology, if not world markets, corporations.
And not just technology.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Now, the one good thing that came out of this is that Jozwiak is taking over from Phil.
Yeah.
And they've been grooming Jaws for a lot of years.
Yeah.
I mean, Jaws was like Phil's understudy.
That's right.
And everybody knew that when Phil left, Jaws was going to take over, and he has. Yeah. And that is a good thing.
And you know what? Now, give me a Phil Schiller story. You've met Phil on many occasions. But give me a Phil Schiller story.
Jeez.
I'll give you one. Remember Macworld Expo, standing, I don't know which year it was, but out from behind the Apple stage, the big stage they had set up, came out Phil Schiller. And I walked over to him. Now, Phil is not a big guy, all right? I am. Phil isn't. Phil's probably about 5'7", 5'8". Nice enough guy. Typical, he looks like at the time, this is probably 10 years ago, he looked like the typical middle-aged dad, right? Phil is not intimidating in any way, shape, or form. I walked up to Phil. I handed him a business card. Said, "Hey, Mr. Schiller, my name is Shawn King. I do a podcast called Your Mac Life." He said, "Oh, great! Congratulations on doing a podcast." I said, "So how about those San Jose Sharks?" And his face, because I knew he was a big hockey fan, his face just lit up. And I said to him immediately afterwards, "I hope my Montreal Canadiens kick their asses," because they were playing that night. And he and I just sort of he laughed. I laughed. We talked about hockey for a while. Didn't talk about anything serious. I know Schiller isn't going to, A, consent to an interview right there on the spot, B, tell me what the next products are going to be. So I'm not going to ask him stupid questions. Sure enough, some asshat from some other Mac website comes up, sees us standing there, and starts peppering Schiller with these idiotic questions that he should not have been asking Schiller. And Schiller looked at the guy and said, sorry, smiled. He blew him off very pleasantly because Phil's an expert in this stuff. And then turned around and walked back into this room he had just come out of. This kid drove him back into that room until the kid would go away. I looked at the kid and went, you're an asshole, and walked away. I was so pissed off at this punk coming up not knowing what the, air quotes, rules are of talking to Apple executives. You don't you don't try to get an interview right there on the spot because they're not going to give it to you, you dumbass.
Yeah. And it's not so much, I mean, if you talk to a reporter, they'll say, oh, well, you got to go at them hard and you got to, as soon as you see, but it's not about that.
That's right.
It's not about not asking the tough questions. It's about there being a time and a place.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, if you see Phil at a grocery store, you don't go up and start pummeling him with questions. When you see him in that kind of situation, it's okay to say hi, but they have, Apple especially has a time and a place where you can ask those questions. Yeah. You know, and you know, he'll gladly answer those questions during that time and place.
Yep.
So I think Phil leaving is a great loss for Apple.
Yes.
Leaving that position is a great loss for Apple because he's overseen so many great products, launches, everything else over the years. But the fact that they have Jaws stepping right in there is, I don't know any other company that could have such an amazing twosome. It's like a goalie and a backup goalie in hockey.
Yeah.
You've got the best combination of goalies and backup.
Yep. I will have a unpopular opinion here now. I'm glad that most likely Schiller won't be on the stage at a keynote event again, and Jaws will be replacing him most likely. I didn't like Schiller's style at keynotes or at Macworld Expos. He felt too hucksterish to me. He felt like he was trying too hard to be the marketing guy, whereas everyone else felt very more natural. Not Cook. Cook has got the natural speaking ability of a turtle, but Schiller just felt too much of a shill, which is what we often called him. Joswiak is much more personable on stage, much more, I think, not relaxed, but less of a salesman than Schiller was. Schiller undoubtedly I will never argue with anyone when he says he did an amazing job with worldwide marketing. He was also a hard ass, too. He was an absolute hard ass. There was a story told me by, I won't say his name, but you'll know who he was, the guy who was running Macworld Expo for many, many years. When they wanted to make a change, Schiller came into his office and said, "You're not making that change." And our friend decided at this moment in time to try to stand up to Schiller and say, "Mr. Schiller, this is Macworld's, this is IDG's Expo. You don't control it." And Schiller said, "We'll see about that," and walked away. He's like they knew how to play hardball when they wanted to, and Schiller was definitely a guy that you didn't mess with when it came to him getting what he wanted.
Yeah, Apple was notoriously tough, and Schiller was part of that.
Yep, that's right.
One thing that I said in that article too was that Schiller really cared about Apple.
Yes,
and he honestly cared about the customers. He didn't try and put a marketing campaign together for a piece of shit product.
That's right. Yeah.
He wanted the product to be the best. And don't forget, he was on the executive team as well. So, I mean, he had a say in more than just, I'll make an ad about this piece of crap product.
Yeah.
He wanted the best for Apple. He wanted the best for the customers. And I respect that. So
absolutely. I mean, it's the way as cliche as it sounds, it's the way the game is played at that level. Schiller knew what Apple meant to Macworld Expo, as it proved when Apple pulled out and thing collapsed inside 3 years. So he knew that he had all the power, even if Apple's name wasn't at the top of the ticket. But
well, let's be honest, it collapsed within a year. So.
It's fair enough. Yeah, it was on life support for at least 2 more years. That's right.
Yeah.
So they know their worth and their value. Everyone at Apple, I love the personalities of the people that are front facing. Jaws and Federighi and Schiller and those guys are very what's the word I'm looking for? Personable. Very personable guys. Guys you could see sitting down at a Macworld Expo and having a beer with. But when it come time for business to be done, they are the hard asses of hard asses, and no one's going to screw them over. And that's great for the customers.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yep.
I mean, all of the things that we love about the products that we have from Apple are because of those people that you just mentioned. Not just Phil, but because of the group of them. I mean, that's why we have what we have. That's why we don't care about Samsung coming out with 50 new products today.
That's right. One thing I teased the audience about off the top of the show was what I called Phil Schiller's greatest stunt ever. You were in the audience at Macworld Expo in 1999. Do you remember that?
I do.
Now, the quiz is, do you remember what Phil was testing when he jumped off of that platform?
The clamshell iBook.
Yes, but what was the reason for Phil jumping off of that platform?
Wi-Fi.
No. It's funny how many people forget this. He wasn't testing the Wi-Fi. Steve Jobs had already shown us that the iBook had no wires. He passed a hula hoop like a magician around his arms.
Oh, yeah.
What Schiller was testing was there was an accelerometer attached to that, and on screen was the data for the accelerometer. Apple had just announced that these new iBooks would park their heads in case of a crash, in case of a physical drop, that the iBook knew it was falling, and it would park the heads of your iBook in order for the hard drive not to get destroyed physically.
Is that when that hack came out?
That's when that came out. That's what he was testing. That's why he jumped off. If you watch the video, folks, I posted the video up on the Loop website, loopinsight.com. You can see on the back of it there is a device, and the device is the accelerometer that they were showing on screen, and then I think they had an internal accelerometer too. So they were testing basically the shock resistance of the iBook. The iBook wouldn't die if you dropped it out of your hand or from a 15-story building or whatever it might be. That's what they were testing.
Well, I have a funny little story for you then. So a couple of years later, Apple put out a new hard drive or a new computer with an accelerometer.
Yep.
And so, I was reviewing the thing, so I thought, okay, I'm gonna test it. And I was actually in Las Vegas. I don't know what for. It was for a show or something. And I had just gotten this computer, and I thought, okay, if I'm going to write about this, I have to test this accelerometer thing and, the hard drive parking itself, because they were still mechanical hard drives at that point.
That's right.
So the hard drive was going to park itself and all of this kind of stuff. So I stood on the bed in the hotel room, and I dropped the computer, and the bed must have been a trampoline because the computer flew off of the bed, and I smashed the screen. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Not the actual glass of the screen, but it broke it. It broke the mechanism.
Yeah.
To put it up and down.
Yeah.
So here I just stood on the bed looking on the floor like, uh-oh.
Oopsie.
So yeah.
Did Apple make you pay for it?
I don't think that they did. I can't remember, but that would have been painful.
Yeah. I remember breaking an Apple device by accident one time, and they didn't make me pay for it. So it was I bent the screen back too far. I had it hooked under something, the front edge of the screen was hooked under or something. I didn't know it. I went to push the screen open, and it just snapped the hinges off, and it's like now it's got a floppy hinge on it. I can't remember the lady's name who was the head of the review unit, but yeah, she called me all kinds of names and said, we can charge you for this. I'm like, oh crap, I can't afford $3,000 for a broken laptop. I sent it back to them, and I never heard back from her. So I was just like, okay, I'm not going to say anything. Just don't. And you know what? I don't think I ever asked for another review product either. I don't think I was like, I'm not going to take my chances. We're going, when you pay us $3,000 for this one, asshole.
Well, probably a good thing for you that you didn't.
Exactly. So yeah, Schiller will be missed by many people. A lot of folks, when I tell them that I'm not a fan of his speaking style, defend him vehemently, and that's fine. There's no problem. He certainly will be missed.
I would be one of those.
Yep, that's not a problem. He certainly will be missed, but again, he's still in charge of Apple events and the App Store. So the events will continue to go on the way they are. Unlikely he'll be seen at them, and the App Store will move on into the future with Phil. So whatever he does retirement-wise, he said there's some personal projects that he is very passionate about. Hopefully those are public, and then we'll find out what they are, because it would be a shame for the rest of us to lose touch with Phil after all these years.
Yeah, I agree.
Apple announced new iMacs. Do you believe these are the last of the 27-inch Intel Core iMacs?
Well, according to a lot of the things I've read, these are shit. Basically nothing was updated, and those 10 cores. Yeah, but besides that. I mean, and the nano texture screen. Yeah, well, besides that, and the fact that they all come with solid state drive. Yeah, besides that. Yeah. I mean, God, I just hate reading stuff on the web. I really do. I really do hate seeing this stuff. It's like people just. They're either just looking for something to be bad, or they don't quite understand what it is that this stuff is.
Yep.
Oh, well, it didn't have a new design.
Yeah. That's one that killed me.
Well, okay, so you have a product that's selling like gangbusters, and you need tell me what you would do for a new design.
Yeah.
Because I'm betting you don't know.
For me, the whole new design thing was just radically stupid, because why would Apple redesign the iMac when they've got another new iMac coming up, say in 6 months' time or a year's time? Why not save the redesign for that new Apple Silicon Mac? You freaking morons!
Even if they don't do a new design, and it's very possible that they won't.
Yep.
Because they don't want to change too much all at once. I mean, if they put out a design that people hate for some reason, they'll equate that to the Apple Silicon Mac. Oh, I remember that sucks. So it could be that they put out the first Apple Silicon Macs the exact same way that they are now, so people are familiar with it.
Yeah.
It works great, and now it's 1,000 times faster than Intel's piece of crap.
I think it's unlikely that Apple would come out with a bad design of the next version of the Apple Silicon Mac, if only because I don't think the new design is going to be radical. I think the Apple will do a fairly simple change from the point of view of it'll be a smaller bezel. The biggest complaints everyone has always had, and I do of my iMac, is the black bezel around the edges makes it seem like there's a good another inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch on all four sides that you could expand the screen with. Or
God!
I'm saying
3/4 of an inch.
3/4 of an inch on four sides is 3 3/4 inches. That's a lot of screen real estate. Or the chin where the Apple logo is about 3 inches thick. They could change those things, but that's all Apple's going to do, I think, in the next Apple Silicon Mac anyway. This is, to me, the perfect design. It's all frickin' screen. I don't think you need a new design externally of the iMac. To me, it's a great design just all by itself.
Yeah. Well, all joking aside, I've maintained for years that when people say that, oh, the next iPhone has to be redesigned.
Yeah.
Well, why?
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Besides the fact that you seem to want a redesign, why does it have to be redesigned? Because they sold in a year almost 100 million of them.
That's right.
And you think it needs to be, again, what would you do? You know, Joe Blow sitting in your mother's basement writing this story. What would you do to design it? Because clearly you know more than Apple does.
Exactly. You're the smartest guy in the room.
Because Apple is making billions of dollars and you are not.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, I get very frustrated with people that say things that just have no merit. Like, this needs to be redesigned. Okay, so let's take the dashboard of a car. Yes, okay, I can see where the dashboard of a car could use a redesign.
Yep.
You know, make it more ergonomic for the driver, more, you know, this or whatever it is. But if you're talking about a phone that's selling 100 million units and there's nothing physically wrong, because they have different sizes and they, you know, they do all of the things to make sure that everybody has a fit and a model. How is it that just saying, oh, this needs a redesign, actually makes any sense? Yeah. Because to me, it doesn't.
Now, the question in my mind is what I ask off the top. Do you think this will be the last of the Intel Macs?
Sorry, I went off on a little tangent there.
That's okay. I'm used to it. I've known you for 25 years. I'm used to it. Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think
yes.
The earliest the next version of it is going to be is 6 months, maybe a year. By then, we'll have at least one or two other Apple products that are already Apple Silicon based. There's no reason for Apple to make the next iMac Intel again. That being said, I'm seeing people saying, well, you shouldn't buy this particular iMac. It won't be. No. This is a perfectly good. I would buy this iMac right now. I would love to get another iMac. My iMac is 27 inches, but it's 6 years old, and I'm really feeling I'm pushing the envelope of this thing. I'd love to get a faster machine. I would happily buy right now today a 27-inch Intel-based iMac because I know that machine is going to be a good machine for at least 4 more years, and Apple will support it for at least 4 more years.
Yeah.
The next version of the operating system that's going to be around in 4 years will still run on that. Even though it's Apple Silicon optimized, it's still going to run absolutely fine. It might be slower, but every computer is slower than the previous version. I mean, it's just common sense.
And every computer is going to be slower than the Apple Silicon computer.
Yeah, exactly. So,
you know.
But every computer is going to be faster than the one I've got now, which is 6 years old. So don't tell people not to buy this new iMac. Wait for the 27-inch Apple Silicon iMac because it won't be around for another year.
Yeah, and that's just, again, that is advice that with no merit.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, you can buy a screaming fast machine right now, today, an iMac, and why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking for a computer and you were thinking, I wonder if there's going to be an iMac. Oh my God, there it is. Yeah. Buy it.
Yep. Now, it's interesting that people are pointing out, once again, as they always do, and rightfully so, Apple's exorbitant charges for RAM. And someone in the loopinsight.com's comment list said, where was it? Talking about hopefully that the iMacs will always have user replaceable RAM. But why does Apple keep charging 3 times as much for RAM that someone like Mac Sales or OWC would? Do you have an explanation for that?
Okay, so the only thing that I can think of here is the same reason that Apple charges 3 times as much for a charging cable that you can get on Amazon. Apple, what is it, qualifies, or I forget the word that I'm looking for here.
Certifies.
But certifies that this stuff, this RAM, have you ever put a bad RAM chip in a computer?
Once,
I have.
yes. It was a pain in the ass.
Yes, it was.
Yep.
And it had nothing to do with Apple.
Yep.
It had to do with the RAM. Now, my mother had called me at one point and was talking about getting a product, and she was looking on Amazon, and I said, just don't do it. Go to the Apple store or order it online from Apple, because it's certified. You know that this is going to work. And, you know, that may be bad for some of the other resellers, but I just want to know that it's going to work. And, you know, when I bought a hard drive a little while ago, I got a 5 terabyte hard drive. I can get a 5 terabyte hard drive from anywhere.
Yeah.
I bought it from the Apple store.
Yeah.
And they delivered it to me within 2 hours, and it's been working for, you know, a long time. It's great. Works great.
2 hours?
Yeah.
From the Apple store?
Yeah, from the physical Apple store.
Is the bridge you live under next to One Infinite Loop?
Well, it's pretty close.
That's ridiculous speed.
No, seriously.
Wow.
Seriously. I ordered on my app. I ordered from the Apple store. I ordered a hard drive, and I actually needed the hard drive that day because I was doing a music project. I needed it that day, and I was in, you know, desperate straits. So I ordered it from the Apple store. 2 hours later, it was at my door.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good to live in the valley for some things.
Yeah, no kidding. But I think the reason why Apple charges so much RAM is they're charging you for the convenience of them doing it.
I don't believe that.
Apple is saying, look, if you want, you know as the customer that you can get RAM from anywhere, and this is user installable. It's an easy procedure. Backdoor, flip it open, stuff the RAM in. But if you want the convenience of us doing it, we're going to charge you more because we can. Because
I don't believe that.
I think Apple has no other excuse for doing it, because otherwise it's price gouging. I mean, it's ridiculous. As Dave posted on the Loop, you can get 128 gigs of RAM from Amazon for $600. For Amazon, it's $2,600. That's $2,000 markup. Come on.
It's better because Tim has touched it.
It's been blessed. Okay, well,
like
if that's the case, it's a whole different ballgame then.
He's like the Pope.
Spit holy water on it.
Yeah, I don't believe that. I really don't.
I saw this story, and only tongue-in-cheek did I write what I wrote on the Loop. Apple and UCLA kick off a 3-year depression study. And I was like, not now. Not now. Because your first year is going to be just, wow, people are fucking depressed. Well, yeah, no shit.
Yeah, right.
It might get better in year 2 and 3, but the first year.
Yeah. Yeah, no matter what, you could give them cocaine or weed or whatever drug, and they're still going to be, or nothing, and they're still going to be better.
This is not a good year to kick off a depression study. I'm just saying. This is probably not your best choice. Disney announced that they're on Disney Plus, September 4th, they're going to premiere Mulan for $30. Would you pay for Mulan, the live-action version, for $30?
Okay, so I don't really care much about Disney Plus, to be honest. But let me ask you this, because I didn't dig deep into this one. What's the live-action version of Mulan?
Did you see? Well, you don't. Your kids are too old to watch it, but there was an animated version, I think about 10 years ago, and they're just basically taking the animated version and making it a live-action with real people as opposed to animation.
Okay. So this is a brand new movie.
Yes.
So basically you're paying for Disney Plus, and then they're making you pay for a movie on top of that.
Yes.
That's bullshit. That's what I have to say about that. Because if Disney is putting the stuff on its channel, it should be included in your subscription price. That is absolute bullshit. If Apple came to me and said, yeah, we have all this great content, and you pay whatever, $5 a month or $10 a month. Oh, and you got to pay $30 for this movie.
No.
Bullshit. No way.
This is almost guaranteed to be a trial balloon for Disney to see if people are willing to do this on top of their Disney Plus subscriptions. There is a certain portion of the audience are going to get Disney Plus just for this movie, and I'm sure Disney is just saying, I wonder if we can pull this shit off. Because if we can, we're making even more money. If we can't, we're gonna lose money in Mulan anyway, because it was supposed to be in theaters. It's not going to be in theaters. It'll be in select theaters and places around the world. But for the most part, they're not going to make the $300 million, $400 million they were expecting to make. So let's see what we can make and do this trial balloon, because Disney has a huge vault of movies that they could do this with, movies that haven't been released on Disney Plus yet, that they could pull this off.
No, and that is all bullshit.
Yeah.
If you're going to release your content and you're charging me a subscription to get that content, you better release it.
Yep.
I don't agree with this at all. But, I mean, I just watched Greyhound. You and I were chatting about this earlier today. I just watched it last night.
Yep.
And if Apple had said, you know, you can have all the Apple TV content. Yeah, for Greyhound, we're going to charge you $10 for that, or $20 for it. Excuse me?
Yeah.
No, I'm already paying you to get the content that you put on there.
But see,
that is wrong.
I think that's a good example of, for a movie like Greyhound, which was a subject that I was interested in with an actor that everyone loves. If they had said, I got to pay an extra $10 a Greyhound, I'd have been pissed off, but I would have paid.
No, I wouldn't have.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have just out of principle.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have.
Yeah.
It's like paying for Peacock TV, but they don't give you all the seasons of the shows that you're paying to see.
That's right. That's right.
You know, to me, that's wrong.
Yeah.
Now, if Disney Disney had an app but didn't charge a subscription, so you could, let's say you could go in with your TV subscription and watch the Disney Channel, but then they put out this movie and wanted to charge you for it, hey, go for it. I'm cool with that. But don't charge me a subscription for Disney content and then tell me I have to pay extra to see a movie.
I think this is also the wave of the future, so to speak. 5 years from now, this will be the way most of us will watch big Hollywood movies. I think that the movie theater is on its way out, just like drive-ins. There will be some that will stick around, but for the most part, COVID and just the general way of where things are going, this is the way movies will be seen. The other thing is, people are saying, well, $30, that's a lot of money. I don't think it's a lot of money, considering how much you would pay if you went to see this in a theater with kids, because you're assuming this is a PG-13 movie or G-rated movie. You're going to go with yourself, your significant other, a couple of kids. That's popcorn, that's soda, that's M&Ms. That's $50-$60 right there. Being able to do it in the privacy of your own home, I think it's worth $30 for a lot of people.
No, I get what you're saying. I really do. I don't agree in principle.
Yep.
Right. So I think when I downloaded Peacock and, paid for that, and people were saying, well, it's a great free service, but I don't want commercials. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
I'm doing everything I can to get away from commercials of all kinds. So my Apple TV is now my main TV.
Yeah.
And I wanted Peacock so that I could watch the few series on NBC that don't suck balls.
Yeah.
And they don't even have them.
Yep.
So, I'm fine without it. I'm fine going with Netflix and Prime Video and Apple TV. I'm good with that. And the Apple TV channels, by the way. I have Smithsonian, and I have Stars, and I have HBO Max through my AT&T account, and all of this stuff. I'm fine with those. I don't need NBC, and I don't need CBS or ABC, or there's one more.
Yeah.
That stuff. Those series are just crap.
And right now, and I've seen this with Melissa and I, maybe because it's summertime, we have other things to do. I've got enough TV to watch. We've got Amazon TV, Disney Plus, Apple TV, Netflix. There's enough out there already. We don't need any more stuff to watch, and not including all the movies that I've got on CDs all over the place. Yeah, I'm full. I don't need anything else. So unless you have a service that's got something I desperately want to watch, then I'm not giving you any more money per month. There's no chance.
Right.
Now, let's talk about Greyhound. What do you think of it? Give it a 1 to 10 rating.
6.
Yeah. Why so low?
It was just a lot of the same.
Yeah.
It was good, but not great. It was no Saving Private Ryan.
Agreed.
Saving Private Ryan to me was just a masterpiece.
It's a 10.
Love that. Yeah. This, it was okay. I'm glad that I watched it, because I was really, really looking forward to it, because it is a subject that I was very interested in.
Yep.
I'm a big history buff, so especially World War II. So I was really looking forward to this, but I just
I was, first of all, it lost 1 point for me because they never mentioned Halifax. Screw you, Tom Hanks. So for background, all those convoys left Jim and mine's hometown, Halifax, Nova Scotia. When they went to all the convoys you see, they left Halifax first. They all gathered there and then went off to Halifax. The secondly was that they didn't do a good enough job of explaining to the non-naval savvy people in the audience what was going on. It was hard. My wife, I'm a Navy brat. I love playing Navy war games, and I was a kid. The Tom Hanks harpoon game, all that kind of stuff. I'm really knowledgeable about those kind of tactics. But my wife knows nothing about it, and the way they showed it in the movie, the tactics they were using were perfect from what I understand. But for a non-Navy person, it was very confusing. You didn't understand how the ships were going to the front of the convoy, to the back of the convoy, how they were going over here, over there, hard starboard, hard, all that kind of stuff was very confusing in a naval terminology way without them showing you what was going on. So
I don't know about they needed to do the starboard stuff, but I think it would have been helpful to, maybe at the beginning of the movie have some kind of an argument or something where Tom Hanks would say, "We are here to protect these ships, and that's what we're going to do." Something like that. Because if you didn't know what was it, Harry, Eagle, and Greyhound. Yeah. Those were the 3 ships that were there to protect the convoy. Yeah. They would go at the front of the convoy, but if they're needed at the back of the convoy, then they go back there, and they're there to fight the U-boats. That's what it was all about. That's what their job was.
Another thing that really kind of threw me off was at the very end of the movie, when you watch the trailers, it sort of came at the beginning of the trailers, but in fact it was at the end of the movie, when the crew found out that their captain, it was his first time making this passage. Remember that? Yeah. Now, all through the movie, the crew kept looking at the captain sort of out of the side of their eye. They weren't sure about the captain. New captain, that's not unusual. But I guarantee you that every single person on board that ship knew before the captain stepped on the deck that this was his first crossing. Because the Navy gossips. Those guys would have known from his previous ship and from other sources that this was his first time. And they should have said that off the beginning, because then it would have set up a tension between the captain and the crew of, do we trust this guy? Do we know that he knows what he's doing?
Yeah, that might have created more tension throughout the movie than just a laugh at the end when he said that.
Exactly.
So, no, I don't disagree with that.
Now, that being said, the special effects were very, very good. The tension was great. I mean, it was only an hour and a half, but when it ended, Melissa said, "I'm glad it was only an hour and a half. I'm sweating," because it was a very tense movie. I love that they showed the remorse of the captain, that he knew what he had just done. He had sent 90 to 100 men to their death. And that we don't often see that in war movies, that people have a moral nature to them. These guys didn't enjoy doing this. The kids on board the ship, yay. But this is a captain, this is a grizzled veteran of the Navy who knew what he had just done, that 100 men are now lying at the bottom of the Atlantic dead. Their families never see them. That's the horror of war that I really appreciate them showing.
Well, and, you see a lot of people these days say, oh, yeah, let's go to war.
Yep.
Let's mess with these guys. And you know what? My grandfathers were both in World War II,
yep.
and the horror came back with them.
That's right.
So there is nothing fantastic about war.
Yep. If you have an Apple TV, I would definitely recommend you watch the movie. I agree with Jim. It's a 6, maybe a 7, just for Tom Hanks. But it does have significant flaws that I wish they could have addressed to raise the movie up to an 8 or 9 level. Because it's a fascinating story. If you want to, if you see any documentaries on PBS or whatever about the Battle of the Atlantic, I encourage you to watch them, because it's a horrific battle that doesn't get talked about nearly enough.
Well, and part of the thing with the Battle of the Atlantic that people may not know if you're not a history buff is that planes would leave Halifax and go with the convoy partway over the Atlantic, but they couldn't go the whole way, so they would turn back. Then the convoy is on its own until the Brits could pick up air support on the other side. But that whole middle section, which was like 3 days worth of sailing, they were on their own. Yep.
They were naked.
So,
and only traveling at maximum 6-7 knots for some of the slow freighters. That's 10 miles an hour. You're crossing the Atlantic at 10 miles an hour, being chased by U-boats that can do 45 miles an hour. So it would have been an absolute terrifying 3 days for those guys.
Yeah.
Any questions for me?
I do.
All right, fire.
And it has to do with the new iMac.
Yes.
Do you think that for a photographer, these are good machines?
I think right now for a photographer, yes, because not just because of the new screen that reduces glare, but because of the fact that they're certainly going to be faster than whatever iMac you have now, but also because the software that you have now runs on it and will continue to run it for 4 years. You can assume that the next Apple Silicon Macs, whichever versions come out, the software that you have now, Photoshop, Lightroom, that kind of stuff, might not be ready, or might be ready and not be stable, not be professional use ready, not be ready for you to throw the kitchen sink at it. So why not get the latest and greatest now, then let everyone else work out the issues with software and with hardware and compatibility and all that kind of stuff. And then in 4 years, you'll know everything's stable, everything is good. Lightroom will have come out by then. All the other apps will have come out by then that you want, and then you can jump into the deep end of the pool in 4 years' time.
Yeah.
I think it's the logical thing to do. I don't think there's any professional photographer that's going to wait until Apple Silicon comes out and then buy one day first. Because you're a pro, you can't afford glitches. You can't afford a machine that isn't up 24/7. And I'm not saying there's going to be anything wrong with Apple Silicon, But as a pro, why take the chance? I don't think pros are going to take a chance at all.
No, it's same with audio.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the first Apple Silicon things, audio. Now, when I say audio pros, I mean people in studios or people that are producing music that's being done professionally. And I'm trying to explain this, but if you're a person that is doing music, you can certainly get an Apple Silicon thing and put out music, because music is put out in a lot of different ways.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Fine, you're done. Thanks very much, folks. Been talking to Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. His podcast is The Dalrymple Report. It's up on the iTunes store. Check it out. Jim, thanks for joining me, buddy.
Thanks, Shawn.
Talk to you later. See ya.
Bye.
Thanks very much for Jim for joining us here this Wednesday evening. If you guys will just bear with me for a second, I'm going to switch cameras because this FaceTime. That's the other thing about the new iMacs. The camera has been upgraded. It's a 1080p camera, not the shitty 720 camera that you're looking at me now through. Hang on a second. Let me do this, and I'll do this, and I'll flip this, and then just a second. Let me see. I'll do this software has to change. I got like 10 different pieces of software I got to change. Oops. All right. It's not working. Why is it not working? Why is it not working? Well, crap. All right, never mind. Wirecast to the snap paper. Ooh. QuickTime. New audio. Not sure is the iPhone 11 camera. Of course not. Thank you very much. Screw you. In our starting point photography segment, I want to say thanks very much to our friend Susan Gare. Susan sent in a question, as I said off the top of the show, the single hardest question you can ask a photographer. What camera should I buy? No, it's not about aperture control. It's not about lenses. It's not about long exposure photography. It's not about anything like that. Which camera should I buy? It's the question that makes photographers sweat, because we don't know the answer. It's literally almost impossible to answer the question. Susan writes, I think I'm ready for a better camera because I can't get the shots I want with the camera I have. That's a great way of looking at it, Susan. That's how you can tell that you need a better camera. It's because if you can't get the shots you envision with the camera that you already have. She says, she goes out walking every day. I'm going to put this picture up. Hopefully you don't mind, Susan. I show the audience this picture. She says, this duck turtle pond is a 5-minute walk from my house. Jay and I walk there several times a week. My closest point to that shot is 50 to 100 feet or so. This is probably 10 times zoom on my iPhone 10. It's as sharp as it gets, not very sharp. And you can see in this photo, hopefully you guys can see, it's not a sharp photo. It's all muddy on the edges. It's a good photo with the turtle coming up on the ducks. I like that, but it's not a particularly good quality photo. It's not something you would print off. But, and this is where things get really hard, Susan says, I'd like to get some better pictures of these critters. We're also adopting a kitten soon. They already have. The kitten's name is Mercury. That's Mercury in the photo below. I think that was taken by the couple that's fostering him. I'm probably going to be taking a lot of pictures of her when we get here. And oh my God, how cute is little Mercury. Look at that. Little kitty cat. So the issue here, Susan, is you are looking for something better than your iPhone 10, which is fine. The iPhone is good on those shots that the optical zoom of the iPhone can reach. And that's one time wide angle and 2 times zoom. Anything beyond that 2 times zoom is digital zoom, and it's going to suck. There is absolutely no way around it. It's going to suck on any camera. It's not going to be good shots. So, but you also want to be able to take close-up shots, and close-up shots of a kitten that's going to be moving. So you've got two completely different shooting situations. One, shooting for far away. Two, shooting close up. Now, there is no such thing as the perfect camera for both of those situations, or the perfect lens for both those situations. There's always going to be trade-offs between a lens that can shoot far away, you won't be able to shoot close very well, or a lens or a camera that shoots close but doesn't shoot far away very well. So you've already set yourself up for compromises. The next thing, Susan, you want to figure out is, first of all, your budget. If it's $1,000 or below, that's one camera. If it's $2,000 or below, that's a different camera. $500, different camera again. The first thing I'll suggest to you is figure out your budget for the camera body, and then double that for the lens. The camera body is, you can get that one used. You can get a used camera body, maybe 3 years old, for under $500. The Canon Rebel line is a good line of cameras. The Nikon D3300 line, I'll send you these links too, Susan. Don't worry about writing stuff down, is a good beginner line. For the most part, any beginner camera you buy, Susan, is going to be a good camera body. It's going to have the ability to take pictures that you can blow up and print off. It's going to be fairly fast. It's going to have decent focus. It's going to have decent low light coverage, given if you get some classes or have some knowledge about taking low light shots. Same with taking relatively high speed shots of a kitten running around. Again, if you know how to do those shots with aperture priority and shutter priority and those kinds of things, take a class, read a book, use YouTube, ask me. I give classes. I'm good at them. Just saying. So, but what you want most of all is a good quality lens. Now, the lens you get with any beginner camera is called a kit lens. It comes with the kit. You're generally going to get an 18 to 55 millimeter lens. That's not going to be a lens that'll let you get those great duck shots. It's not going to be fast enough to let you get good kitty shots inside the house, say with just regular lighting. Outside, yes, but just in the house, in the living room, if it's not bright and sunny in the living room or bright light in the living room, a little harder. So what you want to do is get a lens that will let you shoot the ducks. So say a 100 millimeter and above lens. What's going to happen, and I don't know if you, Susan, I know you live in Eureka, California, in Happy Valley. I don't know if there's a big box camera store, a Best Buy, or that kind of thing around you. But if there is, go into the store and touch and feel these cameras. Because, for example, my Nikon D600 is a great camera, fantastic camera, but it's also very heavy. You are considerably smaller than I am. And your hands are smaller than mine too. So this lens, I would not recommend this camera to you because it's too heavy for you, I think, my personal opinion. I think you'd probably want a physically smaller camera that isn't as bulky and solid as this one. This one I think weighs about 2 or 3 pounds without a lens on it. You put a decent sized lens in this thing, now you're looking at a 4 or 5 pound camera, which is awfully hard to hold up for some people. So go into the store, feel what the camera body feels like. Don't let the guy in the store sell you, say, a 70 to 300 millimeter lens. We can throw this in for only an extra $100. It's a shitty lens. One of the things about lenses that's almost always true is that price equals quality. So the higher quality you want, the higher price you're going to pay. The good news is, if you know what kind of lens you're looking for, the millimeter size of it, 7 to 120 or 100 to 200. If you know that, you can look for a used lens that fits your camera body. And most lenses sold in the last 5 years, 10 years even, will fit the body of even a used camera. The other thing you want to look at, Susan, is maybe you want a mirrorless camera. Mirrorless cameras, you see my D600 is what's called a full frame camera. My D600 DSLR, this distance here from about there to there is 2 inches, inch and a half. A mirrorless camera is half this size. So therefore it's half the weight. So that might be a better deal for you. Look at the Olympus M10, which is a really, really good mirrorless camera with some good lenses on it. Sony makes some amazing mirrorless cameras, a little bit pricier. There's a bunch of really good mirrorless cameras that you might want to see if you can get hold of, like physically get a hold of, and see if the physicalness of it is something that you want to get. The other advantage of mirrorless cameras and disadvantage is the back screen on them. Quite often the screen pops out, although a lot of Canon and Nikon beginner DSLRs also have this feature where the mirror, the back screen flips out so you can get low angle or high angle shots. Nice little feature. The Olympus cameras and the Sonys also have a back touch screen, so you can look at the screen and touch on it to focus, which is kind of a nice feature if you're on a tripod or something like that. The downside of any camera that uses any mirrorless camera is that back screen uses up the vast majority of your battery life. I've always said the battery on this Nikon D600 lasts for a whole weekend of shooting. I can comfortably, when Melissa and I went to Nelson last year on the motorcycle trip, I didn't even bring extra batteries because I knew this camera could last for the entire 4 days that we'd be gone. The Olympus M1 that I used to use, I would take 2 or 3 extra batteries because I knew it wouldn't last that long because the back screen uses up so much more battery juice than looking through the viewfinder of a DSLR. So that might come into play for you. There's a lot of websites. The best website, the one I trust the most, there's lots I trust, but the one I trust the most is DP Review. Letter D, letter P, Review. Let's pull this up for you. dpreview.com. dpreview.com has a great section on the website. It's called Best Camera and Lenses for 2020. Go through that list. I'll put it in the IRC chat room so you can check it out right now. They do a good job of showing this list as those things that I mentioned. Best bargains, best cameras under $500, best cameras under $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, over $2,000, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's probably the best place to go to start getting an idea of what you're looking at. If you have specific questions, Susan, please send me. If you have what do you think about this camera, Shawn, or what do you think about this Fuji lens, or what do you think about this? Send me specific questions. Generally, you want to make sure you physically touch the camera. You want to be able to hold on to the camera. Do not buy it from a website that promises you a price that's way out of whack of what, say, Amazon or B&H or somebody else might sell it for. Those are generally called gray market cameras, and they're either often falling off a truck, or they don't have the battery with them, or they don't have, they might come from a different country and therefore not have warranty in the USA. So don't go for, if you see a camera that's supposed to be $500, it's on sale for $200 from some camera website, do not buy it. It's going to be a ripoff. This is the best time to go into a store and physically hold on to the camera. And if you do, please buy from the store. If you go to Best Buy and you find the camera that you want, it's a great Canon Rebel T7i or whatever it might be, and then you go home and check on Amazon and it's $50 cheaper on Amazon, go to Best Buy, buy it at Best Buy. You use their expertise. You held on to their camera. You use their physical store. You use their lights, their heat, their air conditioning. If the price is like $200 cheaper, no, screw it. Buy it from Amazon. But if it's only a few bucks off, buy it from your big box store, your local camera store, whatever it might be. Your local camera store also might match or get close to Amazon pricing too. So ask them about that if you would, if you're thinking about doing that. Don't just immediately, it's called showrooming. Don't go into a store, ask advice of the sales guy, feel a bunch of different cameras, and then go home and buy one from Amazon. That's how small companies go out of business. But hopefully, Susan, that's of help. Again, anytime you guys have any questions about cameras or gear, what camera should I buy, I'm happy to help. But keep in mind, Susan, for you specifically, for you're wanting close-up shots and wanting far-away shots, it's going to be hard to find a camera and a lens that fits into that sweet spot. I would say look for because you're not going to be taking pictures of the kittens and the ducks at the same time, right? So I would definitely recommend for the kitten shots getting a 50mm lens. It's called the Nifty 50. Any Canon or Nikon you buy, Nifty 50 is under $200. It's a great little lens. Cheap plastic. It'll break if you drop it, but it's really good for low light and fast shooting. And then, hang on a second. Look at investing a little more money and spending a few more dollars and getting a lens like this. This is a 24-120 camera. It's not cheap. It's about $500, but this is any shots you see of mine that are long ways away, I took it with this lens. So I carry around with me the two lenses, and they're easy. And with practice, you can pop them off pretty quickly. So I can pop this lens off and put this one on inside 10 seconds. So this one will be for shooting the ducks, and this one will be shooting for inside the house. Hope that helps, Susan. Thanks very much for the question. Next up, I'm going to pull this website up. Hang on a second. Let me just close that. Go on, close that. Close all those. And now I got to find this one. Okay, here we go. The nice folks at Infinacore, IFINAcore.com. Let me post this up on the website on the IRC channel so you guys can see this. Nice folks at Infinicore sent me their, and I got to send a big shout out to Glenn at, oh crap, why is Glenn's Launchpad agency. I get so many press releases. I probably get close to 100 press releases a day, and the vast majority of them are crap, are things that have nothing to do with the work that I do. And it's really, really annoying and really, really frustrating to get these. I never, unless I'm personally invested in it, never do press releases for Kickstarters. Kickstarters are I don't want to get too cruel to Kickstarters. Hang on, just trying. But I find Kickstarters to not be worthy of me talking to you guys about or reviewing because I can't physically feel the product. So Glenn of the Launchpad agency sent me a press release and said, "This is not a Kickstarter. This is a real product. We'd like to review it." I said, "Sure, send it to me. I'll review it." So a few days later, I get this little thing in the mail. And to give you an example of the size of it, this is my iPhone 11 Pro Max. So it's about that big, that thick. It's a little square. You charge it up, and you charge it up very easily with the included prong. This little prong slides in. It pops out fairly easily, slides in. I'm impressed with the folks at Infinicore because they also send you a couple of adapters for the UK and Europe, and I got to assume Australia and maybe Japan. They don't have to do that. They could make you go buy a travel set, but they included these, which I appreciate. So what this is a true wireless power bank. This is a battery. This is basically a battery that you charge up and then you take with you when you travel or when you go out for the day or you want reserve power. It's different from, say, a Mophie case that goes on the outside of your iPhone. I love the Mophie cases, always have, but they add considerable bulk to my iPhone. I noticed the size and the extra weight of a Mophie case. So I only ever used a Mophie case when I went traveling, when I know I was going on vacation or going to a Macworld Expo or going someplace where I knew I'd need the extra battery on the phone. So you see now I don't have the Mophie case on. I've also got a couple of these big batteries. And what these are, this is from Aki. It is got a bunch of connections on the back. You plug it in, you charge this up, and then when you want to recharge your iPhone, you plug in your USB to Lightning cable back there, and you charge your iPhone up overnight. But it's not wireless. It still requires a wire. The cool thing about the Infinacore Pandora, it's called the Pandora Portable Power Charger, P3. The cool thing about this is that, can you see that little ring around the box? That's wireless charging. That's a Qi compatible charger. And all you do is you take your phone, drop it on the charger. You think all you do is drop it on the charger. But for reasons I think make sense, you've got to turn the Pandora on first. And there's a little button here at the bottom. No, at the top. Sorry. Where's the button? Button's at the bottom. You tap the button and watch what happens. Little light comes on and flashes. At the bottom of it, it's got an L. I'm not showing the LCD just yet because that's part of our trivia question. And when you drop it on top of your iPhone, come on, you were doing this before. Why aren't you charging? You worked before. Oh my God. Oh, there it is. See? Charging. You can see in the top left. Can you see it? There we go. You can see the green is charging. I'm holding the Infinacore Pandora next to it, and it is, in fact, charging. So this just ends up being a wireless charger. There are no wires. Your phone just sits on it, starts charging. Now, one of the disadvantages is you've got to make sure that it's charging. Like a lot of these things with the coil underneath. If you don't get the coil just right, if the coil's like that, it might not charge. If it's like that, it might not charge. It's got to be in the right spot. But the folks at Infinicore make sure you know that it's charging, because you can't see that little light there? That little green light at the top? That little green light will flash when it's charging. It will flash fairly brightly all night long. Not a fan. I understand why it needs to do that, but not real happy. Can you see? Can you see it flashing? Oh, it's hard to do this. But come on, there, flashing, 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 all night long, flashing, flashing. So I had to turn this thing around 180 degrees so it was going the other way, and then it was so bright still that I had to put a little piece of cloth over. It was really annoying. So I would like to see them dim the green light on this. But I like the idea. It's fairly light. It's not too. It's a little bulky from the size point of view, but it's fairly light. Easy to drop into your backpack or your briefcase and charge on the go when you're sitting in a coffee shop. Just pull it out, drop it on top. But the other great thing about it is that it charges. It has pass-through charging at the same time. On the top of it, it's got a USB-C charging port. Then it's got a USB 3 quick charging port. And then it's got a USB 2 charging port. So you can charge 4 things at once. You plug this into the wall, USB-C, so you can charge your laptop. You can charge your iPad. You can charge another device. And wirelessly, you can charge your iPhone 11 with it. So you could conceivably charge 4 things all at the same time. When I was in Australia, I could only charge 2 things off my batteries. So I had to carry 2 batteries and 4 cables in order to be able to get it all working the same. It was really, really annoying. Now, conceivably, I can use this and charge 4 devices all at once, which is fantastic. Check out their website at infinicore.com products. Look at the price. It's $40. $40. Regular price is $60 right now. If you go to our website, if you go to their website, or if you go to our website, The Amazon.com link on the YourMacLifeShow.com page has got the Amazon price of $40. So if you want to get one of these things, please come to our website first. Click on the Amazon link for the Pandora. Buy yourself one, two of them. They come in black. They come in white. If you need on-the-go charging, this is a really cool little device. Now, so what I did was I tested it over the weekend. I ran 3 tests over the weekend. And my first test was, first of all, I charged it up to 100%. And I know it was 100% because there's a little screen right there in the bottom that will tell you how charged up your Pandora is, which is a nice little feature. By the way, there's 3 little feet on the bottom of this thing that tells you. So the first night I charged up fully, put my phone on the charger, went to sleep. Woke up next morning, nothing happened. I drained my phone down to 5%. When I got up, it was completely dead. Why? Why didn't it work? It didn't work because I had it upside down. I had that side facing up instead of that side facing up. So in the dark, you feel for these little feet and you go, oh yeah, the little feet should be in the bottom. And you put that. So my second test, charged it up again to 100%, drained my iPhone down to below 5%, went to sleep, put this on the charger, woke up the next morning to a fully charged iPhone. Did the same thing the next day. Drained it down to below 5%, made sure the Pandora was fully charged to 100%, went to sleep, put the iPhone on the wireless charging pad, went to sleep, woke up next morning, 100% charge. That's good. Now that was Monday morning when I did that. Take a guess, and this is the trivia question. I'll give you the answer, so you have to send me the number. No, you don't. Don't worry about it. I just realized that's dumb. I'm not doing that. Take a guess for you folks who are listening in live. Now, this thing has been sitting since Monday morning. It's now Wednesday evening at 7:11 Pacific Daylight Time. This thing has been sitting uncharged. I've not plugged it in since then. How much juice do you think it has lost since Monday morning? That's one of the things that I find a little annoying about these big chunky batteries, is that if you leave them in, say, your backpack or your suitcase or your travel briefcase for a week or 2 weeks, they lose juice. And so if you don't remember to charge it up before you go on your trip, you're carrying around a dead battery for a period of time. So to me, it's interesting to see how much juice these things lose just from sitting around. Say this was just in your backpack and you forgot about it for a week or 2 weeks. This thing had, when I took it off the charger on Monday morning, so 2.5 days ago, it was at 37%. So it charged up my iPhone fully and still had 37% charge left. So it still had a third of a charge left, which is very good. This thing had 37% on Monday morning. It now has 37%. It hasn't lost any charge. That's a big deal to me. I'm going to leave this sitting uncharged to see when it finally loses part of its charge. But it's something that I look for in one of these battery packs. I don't want it to be left alone for a week or 2 weeks and I go to use it and find out that it's dead. So that's a nice little ability of this charger. The folks at Infinicore are giving 2 of these away in the show in 2 weeks' time. A black one like I've got and a white one. All you got to do is enter the contest. If you're not a subscriber to Your Mac Life, all you got to do is go to the website, yourmaclifeshow.com. Right to the top of the page is a Friends of YML contest entry form. Put in your name, your age, your sex, whatever details I'm asking about there, just out of curiosity, and a valid email address. I'm never, ever, ever going to sell any of your email addresses. Don't worry about that ever. I've got no reason to do it. I've got no desire to do it. It's not going to happen. So make sure it's a valid email address. If you're a subscriber to Your Mac Life, and please, you absolutely should be, go to the website on the left-hand side, yourmaclifeshow.com. There is a subscription thing there. You click on it. You can subscribe for 2, 5, 10, 15, whatever amount of money you want to subscribe for per month. It comes out of your credit card or out of your PayPal account every month. Comes into mine. It's a way of supporting the show. It's an easy way to support the show without me having to go through all the hassle of a Patreon or any of the other services like that. That's a pain in the ass. I'd much rather have you guys just subscribe directly. For every $2 over the initial $2, you get an extra entry form. You're entered automatically into all of our contests. You don't got to do another thing. And if you subscribe for, say, $5, you get 2 extra entries. If you subscribe for $10, you get 5 entries, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So your chances are higher of winning a contest the more you subscribe to Your Mac Life. So I'd appreciate if you guys would do that to help support the show. Thanks very much to the folks at Infinicore, Infinacore.com. Again, you can go to our website and click on the Amazon.com link for the Infinicore power bank. It's only $40. That's a really, really good price. It's going up to $60 at some point in time. They haven't said when, but get the deal while you can. Or wait, in 2 weeks, we'll be giving away 2 of the Infinicore wireless power chargers, portable wireless power chargers from Infinicore.com. That's it for tonight's show. I want to say thanks, as always, to our good friend Jim Dalrymple, The Loop, at loopinsight.com, for joining us here each and every week. And again, for those folks who are wondering, Melissa went off to the beach. It was a 26-degree Celsius day, beautiful sunny day here on the Sunshine Coast. So her and her girlfriend went off and had some girl time at the beach. That's why she wasn't here. Hopefully she'll be back next week. That's it for tonight's show. I want to say thanks to you guys for being tuned in live or if you're listening to the archive, you folks in the IRC, thank you very much. You got a big thank you for the folks in the IRC, especially Les Posen. Les is in Melbourne, Australia. You may have heard the folks in Melbourne are in complete lockdown, so hopefully everyone there stays safe. And same for all you guys. Hopefully you stay safe during all this pandemic stuff. Send emails, as always, to onair@yourmaclifeshow.com. If you have any questions, any comments about anything we've done or said during this show, I love getting emails from you guys. As always, I've been Shawn King, and you've been listening to Your Mac Life. See ya!